Hey, Carrie.
Okay, Carrie, you ready?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Carrie.
Okay,
Hey,
I'm
Carrie.
here. Yes.
This is Guy.
Hey,
Say,
Guy, what's going on?
Well, I figured you might want to hear this, and the folks on the line out there might want to hear this. This comes from the
Give me a
United
second.
States.
Hold on 1 second before you do. I got it. I'm at my daughter's getting married on Saturday, and the place that she's getting married at, I'm having to help pick it up, and I don't want to. There's a little bit of background noise, so I got to a room that wasn't. Yes, Guy, go right ahead.
Okay, this comes from the United States Tax Court. This is me as a petitioner, and then the Commissioner of Internal Revenue as a respondent, and of course the docket number. But it is titled Order of Dismissal, and it states, there being no objection to respondent's motion to dismiss or the Commissioner's motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction, filed November 13, 2020, and for the reasons set forth in that motion, it is ordered that respondent's motion is granted, and this case is dismissed. Signed by the special trial judge in behalf of the Commissioner of Internal Revenue. So that's a win.
And yes, it is. Thank you. And if you look at what it said before then, they said that the reason they wanted it dismissed is he has no notice of deficiency or notice of determination. So now we have a foundation we can build it on. We can build on it. So thank you, Guy. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. I'm going to mute out.
All right, thank you. Does anybody else have anything they wouldn't mind sharing?
This is Robin. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi. Well, Carrie also worked with me with a notice of deficiency and a notice of determination, and they dismissed everything but 1 year. And on Monday, I had to go to court, and because of the paperwork that we sent in, the only thing the court said is they again dismissed it. So it works, and I can't thank Carrie enough for the time and the patience that he had with me to move through my thick skull, and I just really appreciate what you guys have put together.
Well, thank you for that. Now, when she says she went to court, she didn't physically go to the court. She went to the court, but they do it remotely or by Skype or by Zoom. But she was in the courtroom with the judge, with the IRS agent, and so on and so on. But she physically went, but she didn't physically go. I hope that made sense.
Yes, this is true. I was very grateful for that too. I didn't necessarily want to see them physically. It helps me. But it seemed like all the paperwork and everything that they were ready to dismiss it because I showed up. I believe if I wouldn't have shown up, that they probably would have slapped a fine or a penalty or something. But because of all the paperwork that we had set in, they had no other choice but to dismiss it. And I'm extremely grateful. This works.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Well, thank you, Carrie.
Okay. It's my pleasure. Now, with Robin, we used special paperwork with her. We didn't use the regular paperwork. We used special paperwork. Does anyone have a question?
Can you elaborate on the special paperwork?
I do, Carrie.
No,
You hear me?
my pleasure. No, yes, I can. I can hear you perfect.
Great.
Elaborate on the. You want me to elaborate on the special paperwork?
Was it pink?
You got, yes, it's the same thing we've been using. I just wanted to see if anybody was listening. So yes, we used the same paperwork, and what's so good about it was they don't know what to do with it. Now I do have a package I put together that's about 30 pages or thereabouts for those that have to go to court. Now you understand, this happens without going to court in most cases, but every so often they'll pull somebody out and make them go to court. And so she added that to it. But the bottom line was they show their muscles and they beat their chest and they get you in a position that you're concerned. But she stood up. And now, before we go, Robin, do you mind telling them how long did that take?
Can you hear me again?
Yes.
It took about maybe 5 minutes. I had to listen to other people's court cases, but when mine came up, it was 2 or 3 minutes.
Now, do you understand that she broke it off in 2 to 3 minutes? Now, that's how powerful the paperwork is.
Yes. Was this a federal court?
Yes, it was federal district court.
Okay.
The IRS was going back to court for penalties and interest, for not filing. There was a whole bunch of stuff. So, but I want you to understand something. Just a few years ago, there was something we could do, and now here's somebody. The first time she ever went, she did it in 2 to 3 minutes.
So that was district court, not tax court?
Nope, it was district court. She went to tax court. She had that with her. But see, the IRS takes you to district court to try to make it criminal. What they're doing is they're building a case so that they can go in and do an indictment. And it doesn't come right away, but that's what they're doing. They're working their way to the indictment so that they can put you in jail, or they can come in and take your house or take your whatever. Not only that, they told them that it was done. She didn't owe nothing. We stuck a fork in it. It was over.
They just said it was dismissed, and they wanted me off the line. They went on to the next one. They didn't want me to talk.
So,
is that because they don't have, it's administrative on the tax side, and then they try to make it criminal, like you said, but they have to plead a case and get a judicial order in order to proceed further?
Well, if you have a court order, and the guy that read it first says we don't have jurisdiction. So jurisdiction isn't everything. Okay? It's the only thing. So if they don't have jurisdiction, what are they there for? They're there to have you admit to something. See what I'm saying? They're there to have you admit to something. They're there to have you say something so that now they can squeeze you really hard. See? Now, the guy that just asked me that question about the administrative, are you still on the line?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me show you how this works. Okay, I'm going to send you a check. It's my pleasure to do so. The check's going to be for $10,000. It's on my account. There's that much in it. I send it to you, make it out to you, with no, and I do not sign it. Tell me what you got.
I got a piece of paper with some writing on it.
See, you're 100% incorrect. That's the problem we're having. You have a check made out to you. You have a check. Well, wait a minute. You have an invalid check. The one that's not signed. Well, wait a minute. See, you have a notice of deficiency. No, you don't. You have a notice of deficiency that's missing something. See, everybody says, well, I don't have nothing. Well, then I sent you an envelope with nothing in it. No, you said it's an invalid check, and that's where we caught them. Doesn't that make sense? See?
It does.
In other words, okay, and that's what I'm trying to show you. It's not. It's in the understanding of the language that they have. So if I send you a check and it's not signed, what did I send you? Nothing. No, I sent you a check that's not signed.
Right.
See?
Okay.
And see, so if you're going to argue that in court, and the judge says, well, what did you get? Nothing. That's not true. They can build their whole case. So did you not get a check? No. Well, yeah. Well, no, I didn't. That's perjury. So what did you get? Well, I got nothing. You didn't get nothing because it was in the envelope. Now you're on defense. See, I never defend. I will never defend under any circumstance. Because I don't defend, we come up with these wild, goofy, how do I say it, arguments that they can't handle. They don't know what to do. If anybody watches football, how many quarterbacks are on the team on the field at the same time? Do you know?
That would be one. I'd carry this there.
Shut it down.
Okay. How come you don't have two? Why don't you have a quarterback? Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. Why do you not have a quarterback on both teams out there at the same time?
Well, because there's quarterback's offense, and we need to do defense.
All right. So why don't we become the quarterback the whole game? Never.
I like that idea. Yeah,
see,
much better.
That's how I put this together. So that when the IRS says, well, you didn't, yes, I did. See? You didn't get nothing. I got a check that wasn't signed. So the question is, can anybody tell me, if you will, what is a notice of deficiency? Okay, let me explain it to you. If you don't know what it is, well, if you don't know what it is, how do you know you got one? How do you know you didn't? I told that guy, I'm going to send you a check and don't sign it. What do you got? Nothing. Or I got a piece of paper. Okay? If you don't know what a notice of deficiency is, how do you know you didn't get one? How do you know you got one? Because they're going to say they sent it out. Under 6212 of the Internal Revenue Code, it says it has to be certified or registered. They don't send them that way. So what is it? It's a check that's not signed. So the paperwork says I never received. See, I never received a statutory. The statute said it has to be something. Whatever it is, it has to be with that, and it's not. Therefore, when I did mine, I was holding it in my hand with the green card, and I still said I never received a statutory notice of deficiency. And they came back and said, "You're right, we never gave it to you," because they're going to tell me they gave it to me, and I'm going to ask them to see it. They can't show it to me. Why? Because it's not registered or it's not certified. So what good is it? It's no good. It's like having a check that's not signed. See, we have to understand where we're at in this fight. Does that make sense?
Does to me.
Okay, and that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to give you a different way of arguing. Now, Robin, thank you so very much. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that very, very much. And Guy, thank you also. Does anybody else have anything they would like to share?
I
I know of stuff that happened this week, so.
I I have one question.
Ask it.
I've filed with John Doe few weeks back, maybe 3 or so, and I didn't send the $60 check, but then I followed up with an amended petition and used statutory notice of deficiency and statutory notice of determination, and I provided the $60 check after I talked to you. I've gotten a call, so they want to schedule a meeting for next week.
That's wonderful.
I suppose so.
Hey, wait a minute. Wait, hold on 1 second. You just heard Robin. Didn't you just hear Robin?
Yes.
What did she say? What did she just say? She had a meeting with them. There's no difference, dude. See, we're so conditioned. Okay, so go ahead. I'm going to cut you off. Go ahead and finish up your story.
That's fine. No, the particular meeting is a collection revenue officer. My question is,
wonderful.
If I have filed but I haven't gotten a docket number yet, would I have to have this meeting with these people, or would that kind of put everything on hold?
No. If you meet with the people, I'm assuming you said the IRS people, you're going to be able to use that as one of your pieces of the puzzle. But how do you want this to end, or do you want it to keep going?
I want it to end.
How's it going to end if you don't talk to them on the phone?
Right. Okay.
See? Now, let me ask you a question. Do you file a 1040?
I do.
All right. So they don't. You don't need. So what you're saying is the 1040 is the assessment. You self-assessed yourself.
That's
you
my
don't have to do one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
So you self-assessed yourself, telling them that you owed them money. Is that a pretty good? Would you agree with that?
No, I self-assessed myself and told them I didn't owe them any money. They owed me money.
All right. Now
and they constantly tell me, okay, we owe you money, but they never give it to me. And they follow up with the nice frivolous stuff that's bogus. But
okay, now we have an answer for that. That's a wonderful thing. See, you're going down the right path. Because they won't tell you what's frivolous, will they?
No. I've FOIA requests and all kinds of stuff.
Okay, I don't get into all that because okay, let me ask you a question. On your FOIA request, how's it working for you?
They came back with one argument.
Okay, let me rephrase myself. On your FOIA, how is it working for you?
Not so good. Yeah, they tell me a lot of times.
Then wait a minute. You're running off here. Give me a second. So you're doing a FOIA request. It's not working. If I was you, I would be the smartest guy on the planet, and I would double down on it. Do 2 FOIA requests.
Right.
See? Everybody does a FOIA request. They're going to come back and say, well, it's frivolous. See? So, if you go to the tax court and the tax court tells you, or the commissioner says you never received a notice of deficiency or a notice of determination, now who's frivolous?
Exactly. Yeah.
See? To me, that makes more sense. That makes more sense.
I agree. Yeah.
So, again, how's the FOIA working for you?
It cost me ink and paper, but yeah.
It's not working, right? So let's do this. You ever heard of this? Double?
Double. No.
Okay, let's double down. See, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
See, it makes no sense. So let's take the argument in a different direction. If you want help, me and Ed will help you with that. I don't give legal advice, and I'm not going to help you. I mean, I'm not going to force you to do it, and I'm not going to tell you to do it, and I'm not going to ask you to do it. If you want help, me and Ed are here to help you. That's all I can tell you. Doesn't that make sense?
Does make sense.
Okay.
Okay, I'll follow up with Ed.
No. Okay.
No?
Now let me ask you a question. If I poke you in the eye and I bury my finger all the way into the knuckle, would that hurt?
Can you define eye?
Yeah, the thing you see through.
Can you define finger?
Yeah, it's one of my phalanges.
Could you define knuckle?
Yeah, it's the thing that when I bend my finger, it's the last thing before it gets to the hand.
Okay, I don't.
You don't know.
Believe.
Okay, then here, open your eye. I'll bury my finger in your eye. We'll see if it hurts then. See? See? In other words, okay, if I poke you in the eye, would it hurt?
If I knew all the terms that you were using, and we came to agreement on what everything meant, I would have to say yes.
Okay, now you just shot yourself in the foot. Would it hurt me? Would it hurt your neighbor? The answer is, and this is where I see different, and this is why what we're doing works. Wouldn't it be a better answer to say hurt whom? Because if I poke you in the eye and I go to your neighbor, or I go to the other side of town, the guy don't even know you. Said, I poked the guy in the eye. Did it hurt? He says, I didn't feel it. See? In other words, there's your FOIA. You're doing a FOIA, and you keep doing the FOIA, and your eye keeps getting sorer and sorer and sorer. That's how I just do everything, see? Now, the guy that I just talked to, I told you about poking your finger in the eye. Let me ask you a question. What color is a red shirt?
Okay. I shouldn't say anything.
Oh, no, I'm trying to help you here, believe it or not. What color is a red shirt? Okay, by your silence, we'll go ahead and give you 90 to 120 days so you have time to think about it. See, you can't stand silent because these pricks will take care of you. So I'm going to ask you again, what color is a red shirt?
I'm going to say it's red.
All right. Again, you shot yourself in the foot. Wouldn't it have been easier? Because now I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to bring in 10 guys that are blind, that were born blind. What color is a red shirt to them?
No color at all.
See? So now you're on defense. My answer would be, I'm glad you asked. To whom? Well, to the blind guy. Hell if I know. I ain't blind. See? Now I've got a position that I can take. What color's a red shirt? To whom? To you. Now, I'm colorblind. I can't see red, so I'm going to say it's gray. See? I'm still on offense. See, I'm never on defense. And what we're trying to teach you here is how to think outside the box. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Thank you for that.
I think I have to practice.
Say that again?
I think I have to practice. Very bad habit.
No, it's not that. It's just that you got to understand something. I'm a nut job, okay? And I admit it. I can't help myself. This is just how I am. But because of this, we've made some really big strides in the IRS. Now, the last meeting I had with the IRS got so angry with me. He told the judge and me, I guess, that I couldn't use Title 26 anymore because it has no legal effect. That's how frustrated he was. He was so frustrated. Now, can you imagine? what are you after me for? Title 26. Well, it don't have no legal effect. Oh, my God. He told me that. And the judge said, well, if it don't have no legal effect, I'm going to have to dismiss this case. See, we get them dismissed all the time for all kinds of reasons. And the reason for it is, we're outside the box now, and and since we're outside the box, they're looking in. They don't know where it's coming from. Doesn't that make sense?
Yes.
Now let me ask you a question. Is snow cold?
Well, please define snow.
Okay, 6 inches of white stuff falling from the sky.
Did somebody hit a cocaine truck or something?
Do you see? I was going to say, well, it's stuffing in a bear or something. See, in other words, unless you know what they're saying, you can't answer it with any certainty. See, that's what I do. They've bastardized their own language. And by bastardizing their own language, you really think that they're talking to you or saying something to you. See? But they're not. What they're doing is they're leading you down a path that once you get so far, you can't get back. And the lady that spoke earlier, she proved that. She stood their ground. She gave them the paperwork. She stood on the paperwork, and they backed off. Because if they don't, we'll have them put in jail. Because they don't have a right to lie and cheat. They do because we give it to them. See, we're giving it to them. We're letting them do it. And the reason we're letting them do it is because, well, I thought he said. See? Now, can I ask you another question? If you don't want to answer it, I'll just ask it and see if somebody else will answer it. Will somebody answer? Okay.
I don't mind yielding to the floor, though.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to ask this question. Does anybody use affidavits?
I do.
Okay, okay, now let me ask you why. Can I ask you why you use them?
Well, they're hearsay unless I get to testify. So, but I use them to get the facts on the record as far as what I believe is true. Okay, there. Now you got a problem. You brought you into it. Now I'm going to draw. I tell you, it's not about you. It's about the law. So I'm going to start off with the affidavit. I never use them. I never use them under any circumstance. You would have to shoot me first. And here's why. I, Carrie, am over 18 years of age, living, breathing, and have first-hand knowledge of this issue. Everything that I just said right there, everything there is all about what I think I know. See the problem? I don't do that. How I do it is, I just tell them that my yes is yes, my no is no. I'm so stupid, I can see it, but I don't know what it is. Unless they define it. Then I just do my thing. Because what they're doing is, you think they're asking you a question, and the question they're asking isn't the question you think it is, and because of just our what do you call it? Our background, we know what they're saying. The guy that I just asked that about the affidavit, he said he does, and so you're trying to get it out of hearsay. Okay, now, would you look something up for me on the internet so we can read it, and I'll show you why I don't use them? Is that okay? Would you do that for me if you're in front of a computer? Are you in front of a computer? I am.
All right, I want you to put in Title 1, Section 1, and then when it comes up, let me know. Come back, go hit *6, come back, and I'm going to show you why, in my opinion, I don't use affidavits. So, does anybody else have a question? That's Title I, Section 1. And I'm going to show you what it says. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, so I'm dealing with an IRS issue where they're saying basically that I owe them some money, and I just got hip to you guys literally today, and I'm reading through the form that you said I should fill out. What's your name, first of all, so how do I address you correctly? Like, first name or any name?
You can just call me asshole. It don't matter to me. Carrie.
Nah, Carrie. Yeah. So I'm looking at I'm just, so you're saying that we should fill out the petition form, right? And send it off to
I'm not telling you. I don't give legal advice.
Not legal advice. Okay. Your suggestion then. Basically, it's
yes.
suggestion then. So, and I see where you say fill out pages 2 through 5, correct? Hello?
Yes.
What exactly do I fill out? Like, as far as number 1, it says please check the appropriate boxes, or is this something I should get privately?
No. We can do that because everybody should be doing it. So read me the first box.
It says notice of deficiency.
Check it.
Okay. And the second box says notice of determination, collection action.
Check it. There you go. Check it. You're done with that number 1. Now go to number 2.
Okay. Okay, bring me number 1. Check. Number 2 says if applicable, provide the dates the IRS issued the notices checked above in the city and state of the IRS offices. Okay, that's
what we can put there. We said you never got one, so you put NA there.
So put NA for number 2. Okay.
Okay. So now wait. Doesn't it say the years that you got them?
Yes.
Well, if you didn't get them, what would you put?
Not applicable.
No, ain't that something? Now go to the next one.
Okay, number 3 is, it says provide the years of periods in which the notes were issued, so that's also NA, correct?
No, but you're going to put NA, 2000, 2001, and you're going to go all the way as far as you want to go because you didn't get any. What years? I didn't get them for any of these years. So you're going to tell them what years you in. See? So, I do stuff a little bit. It's engineered backwards, but that's okay. Now go to the next one.
No, what did you say? So I'm going to put 2000 and then NA after that? Is that what you said?
No. You're going to put NA because it asks you, what years are you having problems with? NA, I didn't get them. So you didn't get it. Then you're going to say 2000, 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 2000 through 2020, whatever you want to put there. In other words, you didn't get them. So gotcha. What problem might you have it? See? So there's the years you got. Now, go to the next one.
No, just to clarify. So for number 2, it's NA, and for number 3, it's also NA, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But number 3 is NA and the years.
Got you. Number 3, NA and years. Got you. Okay. All right, number 4, select one of the following unless your case is a whistleblower or certification action. It says if you want your case concluded under small tax case procedures, check here. What determines a small tax case procedure?
50,000 or below, just always check regular because if you go back and get paid later, you get more money. So just check.
Always check regular. Okay, number 4.
There you go. Now, what's next? You're almost done.
5. Explain why you disagree with the IRS determination in this case.
Okay. NA, never received a statutory notice of deficiency. NA, never received a statutory notice of determination. You're done.
Okay. Got you. Hold on one second. Let me write that down.
Now, okay, just NOD, then you go back and do it later. If you need help with it, just give us a call and we'll help you. Now, what's the next one?
All right. 6. State the facts upon which you rely.
Okay. NA, never received a statutory notice of deficiency. NA, never received a statutory notice of determination. Okay, next. See, how does your story ever change?
Got you.
It doesn't. Okay. See, now we're focused in on that. There isn't anything else.
Then now it says enclosure, so I don't check anything. I guess the filing fee, right? The $60.
Check the filing fee. Okay, then you're also going to check, let's see, that's 4. Okay, you're going to send 5 and 6, whatever the next two, because 5 is your name and your address, and then 6 is where you want to have your trial. So you check those two, 5 and 6.
I'm not seeing what you just said. You said
okay.
check 5.
Okay, read what it says on there now, so I can tell you.
I'm at enclosures, and I see a copy of the notices, the IRS issue, statement of taxpayers identification number 4, request for...
There it is. Check that one. You're going to check that one because the next form is a 4. It goes with that. Now read the next one.
Check the statement of taxpayers identification?
Yes.
Okay. Check statement. Hold on.
And what's the next one?
Request for place for trial.
Check that one.
Okay. And
what
filing fee. Check that one, right?
Check that one.
What
okay.
about
now
a copy of the first one, a copy of any notices IRS don't check that, right?
Well, how can you? Did you never receive them?
Received it. Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
See,
then
now the next form is 5. That's just your name, a social, your address, and then the 6. That's where you want trial. You check the box and you're done. You're done with yours already.
Okay, signature petitioner, mailing address, blah, 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 blah. I got you.
There you go. You're done.
That's on page 3, though. What about page 4? Nothing?
What does it say?
United States Tax Court, statement of taxpayers identification. So I don't fill that out? All right,
well, yeah, okay. Of course. You just said you're going to send it. That's a different form. See, that's Form 4. At the top, it should say Form 4 on it.
It says, no, it just said United States Tax Court, petitioner versus Commission of Internal Revenue. It's a 5-page document.
Right. Okay. Read page 4. Let's read the questions.
It says petitioners, Commissioner.
Somebody's making a lot of noise. Ed, if you would, just Ed, if you would. Yeah.
Okay. It says United States Tax Court, petitioners versus Commission of Internal Revenue, docket number.
That's right.
Right, but I don't have
that blank.
Number. Yeah. Okay,
that's right. They'll put one on there. For you.
Okay, so I basically fill in the name of petitioner's taxpayer identification number, which I assume is your social security number, right?
Yep.
And if petitioner is seeking relief from a joint or severe line or joint return, no.
You leave that blank.
Right. I leave that. Okay, so you just sign it. Okay, I see that. And then request for a place of trial. Okay, my place of trial is New Jersey.
On. Where do you live?
New Jersey.
Okay, look on New Jersey and tell me what's there.
There isn't a New Jersey. That's what I was about to say.
That's fine. What's next to New Jersey?
New York. I figured so. You're going to click New York, whatever. Right.
There you go. Okay, there you go. Now,
send this. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. What's the next? Is that the last one?
Yeah, that's the last page.
Okay, you're going to send it to Washington. You're going to send it to Washington D.C. You're going to go online. You're going to put in U.S. Tax Court. You're going to put in U.S. Tax Court, Washington D.C., and it's going to tell you address. Contact us. It's 404, whatever it is.
Right. Isn't it the one that's listed at the top of the page? On page number 1, 402nd Street, Northwest?
There you go. That's it. That's where it goes.
Okay. So you send that off, and they're basically, according to what I've read, they're going to send you something saying that they don't have jurisdiction over you. Is that what it is? Is that what happens?
Isn't that something?
Okay. Now, so once I get that in the mail, can I...
When you get it, then you get a contact with us, and we'll help you with it. Because you're going to get a motion. You're going to get a motion from them. The motion's going to tell you what they're asking for. You let it go. When you get your order, you're going to get a motion. It's 5 or 6 pages, and then you're going to get an order. Once you get that, you're golden. That's your foundation for everything that we do.
Okay, so once they give me the response, then I contact you. Is that what you're saying?
You can, and then I'll help you with the next step. That's correct.
What's the donation? What do I have to do?
Well, you got it right now, $60. You know, and you're ready to go. When you get it, we'll talk about it. When you get your motion and all that. We'll go over it with you then.
When you say when I get our motion, when I get the response from them, that's what you mean, right?
Yes, but it's going to come as a motion. The DOJ, the Department of Justice, is going to write a motion to the court, telling the court that we represent the commissioner. The commissioner, we can't find his notice of deficiency. We can't find his notice of determination. So the commissioner wants this case dismissed on the grounds. That's going to be the motion. Then your order is going to say exactly the same thing. Now you've got the motion and the order. When you put those two together, you're bulletproof. Does that make sense?
Then contact.
Okay.
So how do I get
there? You go.
Through the Ed
okay,
Brown?
on your.
Ed
there
Brown.
You go. Just get a hold. Yes, and just tell Ed that you need to contact me. He'll email me and I'll call you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Well, it's my pleasure. My pleasure.
So do you do jurisdiction and other things, or anything? It's just specifically with IRS?
I do jurisdiction with everything. Let me ask you a question, okay? I want you to understand how ignorant that I am. I just see things different. Now, I want to ask you a question. Are you married?
No, I'm not married.
Okay, so you've never had a job. How can you afford the $60, dude?
You asked if I was married. I've never...
Wait a minute. Haven't you... Wait, so you're telling me you've never heard this? I'm married to the job? You've never heard that?
But I'm self-employed, so...
I didn't? Okay, so you're not married to the job?
Yes, I am married.
See, you answered the question before it was qualified. That's what I'm doing here. I'm qualifying it. They cannot touch you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you... There you go. Now I'm going to ask you a question. And I want you to answer this question and answer it so that I can show you, because there's a lot of people in here that want it, hopefully will understand it. Now, if you're allergic to seafood, now understand that if you eat seafood, your throat swells up and you could die. Now, can you eat shrimp?
You could, but you would die.
Okay, so the answer would be you would die. Now, can you eat a ribeye steak from a cow?
Can I eat a what?
A ribeye steak from a cow.
I guess.
You guess or you don't? You're allergic to seafood. If you eat shrimp, you said you would die. Can you eat beef?
Yeah, you can eat beef.
Okay, then what does S-E-E spell?
S-C? S-E-E?
S is in Sam, E is in I, E is in I. S-E-E. What does it spell?
C.
Then why don't you close your eyes and eat the shrimp, dum-dum? You're not very good at what you do, are you?
Now, let me just say this. Obviously you have experience in this.
What?
Right? So what you beat me on, I get where you're going, is that you have the experience and I don't.
Okay, that's what we're doing to them. You never received a notice of deficiency or notice of determination. How do I know? Because it is a particular thing.
All right.
Now,
I'll say this. I'm glad I got in contact with you because this stuff is what I need to defeat a lot of these my opponents, because I got a lot of opponents. But
that's fine.
I'm glad I got in contact. So basically, just email Ed, and Ed will reach out to me.
And Ed will reach out to you, or he'll tell me what you need, and I'll reach out to you.
Yeah, I'll give him full details as to what I need, and I'll definitely send this stuff off.
Now, do you understand? Now, you ask me the same question. I'm allergic to seafood. Can I eat shrimp?
You always can. The choice is yours, but you die.
Okay, wait a minute. I didn't say S-E-A. I said S-E-E. I would close my eyes and eat 9 pounds of it.
Yeah, I understand. See, you're playing You're playing word games. Yeah.
No, whoa. I'm not playing word games. The guy that looked up Title I, Section 1, have you found it?
I mean, I could tell you what that is right now. Title I, Section 1.
Okay, now stop right there. Now, I want you to start reading it for me, and I want you to listen to this. Now, read the first line and the first line only, and then we're going to stop and discuss it. Go ahead.
Do you want me to read the title line?
What are you talking about?
Just
Words
the first line.
denote number, gender, and so forth? That's what you
Yes. Yeah. Okay, I'll let you read it. Okay, go ahead. Why don't you read it?
Words denoting, let me see, hold on. Words denote, wait. In determining the meaning of an act of Congress unless the words indicates otherwise. Hold on. Words.
Hold on now. This is not a hurry. It says, any act of Congress, unless we tell you otherwise. Now the question is, who writes the titles?
Who writes the titles? Congress, I guess.
Absolutely. Who writes your statutes for your state? State Congress.
Right.
Well, ain't that something? So anytime an act of Congress, unless they tell you otherwise, let's read line number 2. Read line number 2.
Line number 1. Are we reading from the same thing? Words important, the singular include and apply to several persons, parties, or things. That one?
Okay, now I'm going to ask you a question. What does the word singular mean?
It means individual.
Read it again.
Words important, the singular include and apply to several.
Whoa! I'm playing the word games. I'm giving you the answer to the word games. What does singular? Wait a minute. Any act of Congress, unless they tell you otherwise. I asked you, never been married? You said no. I said, so then in other words, you never had a job. See, I'm showing you how to answer it. Now read the next line.
Words important, the plural include the singular.
What does plural mean, Guy?
In this context, the singular.
Nope. Okay, so aren't we talking about Congress? Aren't we talking about Title 26? Okay, so if we're talking about Congress, plural means singular. Let's read the next one.
Words important, the masculine gender include the feminine as well.
Oh, now I'm going to make a comment on the phone in open air. Are you married?
Yes, I'm married.
So you're homosexual?
No, I'm not homosexual.
Read it again.
It says words important, the masculine gender includes the feminine. You could say I'm androgynous.
So in other words, I could literally put you on the stand and ask that question, and if you answered it the way you answered it, I could accuse you of perjury and have you put in jail. Isn't that a true statement?
No.
Okay. Are you married to a feminine?
I'm not married to a feminine.
Are you married to a female?
No, I'm not married to a female.
So you're married to a male. I'm right. You're homosexual. I can't help it.
No, I'm not married to I'm not married, period.
Okay, what I'm saying, okay, if you get married, would you marry a female or a male?
I'll be married to a female.
Read it again now. Read it again.
Words important, the masculine gender include the feminine as well. So let me ask you. So are you saying you're playing? You're doing semantics again. That's what I'm saying.
No, I'm not. Whoa! I'm reading what's on the page. See, I will make no determinations. When they ask me a question, I take the raw question and I answer the question that's asked, not the question I think they asked, not the question I think they're trying to me to answer. I answer the question they ask. Nothing else.
Hey, I have got to learn from you, man. I don't know.
So now go to the next one. Let's read the next one. It gets worse, bud. Let's read the next one.
Words used in the present tense include the future as well as the present.
Boy, that's a real mouthful, ain't it? Now read the next one.
Let me ask you this then. Then how do you? Sure. Like I said, you're beating me on basic experience. Clearly, if I answer, whatever I answer will be incorrect.
That's exactly right. When you answer the IRS, that's frivolous. So I won't answer until it's defined.
But let me ask you
this. What if I said everything?
Let me ask you this. What if I said?
Sure.
What if I said that I'm not a U.S. citizen, but I'm a state citizen. I'm not subject to tax.
Okay. Now you brought you into it. Now, here's what I would take. Not a problem. What's a state citizen? Define it for me.
That's not bound by the 14th Amendment. It's
Okay. I don't care. The question is, 14th Amendment is a federal statute, so it has nothing to do with you. So I'm putting you on the stand. I'm coming for you. I'm taking you. You're getting 25 to life. On the grounds, the 14th Amendment is a federal statute, and you're telling me you're a state citizen. I don't care.
But listen, here's what I did. Here's what I did with someone. You can apply for your passport as a state citizen. You can do that. I've done it.
That's fine. That's fine. I use everything that I do. I use to my advantage.
Right.
So if you can get it, do it. See, I don't care about the statutes. I don't care. I said the status. It's not about me. I never talk status. Period. Because you just defined a state citizen as a non-14th amendment. That makes no sense. That's a federal statute. Nobody.
Maybe I defined it wrong. I'm not saying.
But wait a minute. You're stuck with it now. What are you gonna do? Back off? That's perjury.
Well, if I was in court, I'd probably have the right definition. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. See, I don't get into that. I never have
definitions of this moment, but
I never have to define anything. Now, okay, let me show you.
I like your method. What I'm saying is this.
Let me show you. Let me show you by example, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, here's what you're in court, I'm the prosecuting attorney, and I make this, I want you to defend it. You're the dumbest individual in the courtroom. Now you defend it.
Well, I'll be charged in the jurisdiction first, so I won't be answering that question anyway.
Okay, now, go ahead and reverse it. Now, you tell the judge the same thing to me, and I'm going to show you how I answer everything. Go ahead.
You're the dumbest individual in the court. Defend it.
Thank you. What proof do you have that I'm the dumbest?
Say it again. What?
What proof do you have that I'm the dumbest? Okay, Your Honor, I want that question struck from the record because he's making shit up. I don't care what you say. If you have I don't have to prove nothing. All I have to do is defend. You said I was the dumbest guy in the courtroom. Not a problem. What proof do you have that I'm the dumbest? Well, I don't have any proof. Bingo, gotcha. Well, because I don't care. See, gotcha. I'm not going to define anything. I don't define because they are now in trouble. They won't let me in the courtroom, dude. When I get a ticket, I call the judge and he throws it out before I get there because he won't let me in the courtroom. To me, that makes perfect sense.
I'm so happy that I met you and I'm talking to you.
Oh,
because now I'm going to be even more arrogant than I was before. Now that this is what I needed.
Well, I'm not arrogant, but
not arrogant. That's not the correct term.
Do you understand? Do you understand this? See, because now let's finish reading let's finish reading this. It gets worse. Let's finish reading 1:1.
Let's see. The words insane and insane person shall include every idiot, insane person and person non composa mentis. That's Latin for something. I'm not sure what
that means that you've been certified as a nut job. But
right.
now watch. Here's where the problem is. The judge will say, if you don't answer that, I'll take you down for a mental evaluation. There's where he's getting it from. If you know where it's coming from, you can answer it. So the judge tells me every time I go to court, well, if you don't answer the question, I'm going to have you taken in for a mental evaluation. You know how I answer that? Wow, Your Honor, let's do it. Here's the problem. You're going to have me in front of a psychiatrist for 1 hour. Does that psychiatrist in 1 hour know me better than my mother that raised me for 20 years? He says, no. I said, well, my mom said I was different. I'm not stupid. Sorry. See? They don't know what to do. It's like a snake in the courtroom. Everybody don't know what to do. Now, let's finish reading them. Go ahead. Let's finish reading them.
It says, the word person and whoever includes corporation, companies, associations, firms, partnerships, societies, and joint stock companies, as well as individuals.
Okay, now I have a friend of mine, whoever. Do you know him?
No, I have no idea. That could be anybody. That could be anybody arbitrarily.
Okay, now wait a minute. Wait a minute. You said no. Okay, what is General Motors? Tell me what General Motors is.
A corporation.
Okay, read that again for me, please.
The word person and whoever include corporations.
Stop! You're a liar. You're a liar. You just said it's a corporation. So you do know whoever. See, if you don't know how to come back on this stuff, this is their stuff, not mine. I asked you, do you know whoever? You said no. What's General Motors? Corporation. So whoever is General Motors. That's what you said. That's what it says. Now, let's go to the next one.
Officer. Officer includes any person authorized by law to perform the duties of the office.
Now, doesn't say he has to know the law. Doesn't say he does it right. All it says is he has the right to do it. Now, I got pulled over. Like I said, it don't take them very long. The officer, every officer I've ever been pulled over has the same first name. He walks up to my truck and says, "Would you get out of your truck?" I said, "No." "Why not?" "Why would I?" He says, "Well, I'm asking you to." I said, "No, I'm not getting out." I said, "The government you work for says guns kill people. Take your gun and put it in your cruiser and I'll get out." He said, "No." I said, "I'm a people and you're carrying a known killer. You're aiding and abetting a known killer. I'm not getting out of my truck. What if it goes off and kills me? I'm saving my own life by sitting in my truck." That guy stood there and went, walked back to his cruiser, was gone about 2 or 3 minutes, came back up and says, "Would you slow down?" I said, "Yes, sir, I will." He said, "Thank you." And I drove off. Never got a ticket. He didn't know what to say. All I did is told him the government he works for says guns kill people. He's wearing a gun. I'm a people. So you want me to stand out in front of a known killer? I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it. Now, go ahead. Let's read the next one. Let's do the next one.
Look, can you answer that question before I read the next one?
Yeah, go ahead and ask any question you want.
I said, how do I learn from you?
Oh, we got calls every 2 weeks. Get a hold of Ed. I'll send you my notes. I have I have a glossary page. I have a packet I put together that Robin used, and it pretty much covers most everything you'll need. Go ahead, read the next one.
Signature or subscription includes a mark when the person making the same intended it as such.
Okay, now a judge puts a dot on a piece of paper. Tell me what that is. Read it again.
Signature or subscription includes a mark when the person making the same intended as such.
What is a dot?
It's a mark.
Okay, so what is a dot on a piece of paper?
A dot? It could be interpreted as a signature.
Nope. Oh, okay, so it could be a signature. Right. Now, read the next one. It gets worse.
Oath includes affirmation, and sworn includes affirm.
Okay, that's not the one. Do the next one.
Writing includes printing and typewriting and reproduction of visual symbols by photographing, multigraphing, mimeographing, manifolding, or otherwise.
Okay, so if a judge puts a dot on a piece of paper, that can be considered his signature. He can duplicate, that's what it just said. So he Xeroxed 25 copies of the dot. He hands it to you. What did you just get?
You got a signature.
Original blue ink signature. Because that's the same. So we're going to court saying, "Well, I want an original blue ink signature." You're fighting the fight. They don't have to do it. They put a dot on paper, copy 25 copies, and hand it to you. "I want a blue ink signature." "You got it, buddy. You got the original." Well, that judge, he retired 10 years ago. "Yeah, but we're still using it." See, we're arguing arguments.
So what you do, you just use the law that they set against them, basically. That's what you're doing.
Okay, so if they tell me, for an example, I went to the court the other day, and the judge says, "Okay, how do you pay?" I said, "I'm innocent until proven guilty." He says, "We don't have that here." I said, "Oh, Well, I don't know what to tell you. The judge says we have guilty, not guilty, and nolo contendere. I said, woo, good deal. I'm not any of those. Well, he said, you got to plea. I said, okay, I plea a 48-year-old Chinese woman. He said, you're not. You're not one of those. I said, I know, I'm not one of those either. So I figured we're just pleading. I said, I can't plead what I'm not. You just said I'm not a 48-year-old Chinese woman, so how can I plead to something I'm not?
Gotcha.
I'm innocent until proven guilty. He says, so the judge says, well, you can't. He said, you can plead guilty, not guilty, or nolo contendere. I said, okay, I'm going to plead I'm a Chinese woman.
Well,
he said, you can't. I said, okay.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. What if you go to court, they find, let's say it's just a trivial legal matter, and they find you guilty and they give you the 30 days to appeal the decision. Can I still use your procedures?
I filed an appeal on the way out. I take my appeal with me.
Okay. But you can help with stuff like that too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have an appeal that I appeal on my way out. Don't even worry about it. I have an appeal right now that's still on the books it's been on the books for 9.5 years.
Okay. All right. I'm going to give someone else a chance to ask a question.
Let's finish. Was that the last one?
Yeah. Because I need to pick your brain personally, some other stuff. You know what I mean? So I'm going to reach out to you. I'm going to fill out this form. This what is it called? The petition. I'm going to get that off.
Good to you. All right.
And once I get the motion back, then I'll reach out to what's his name? Ed. I sent Ed an email, I guess.
That'd be fine. That's perfect.
Right.
Does anybody else have a question? Now, that's the IRS. No, my pleasure. That is the government's glossary page. They're telling you unless we tell you otherwise. Gotcha. So why would we go in there? Why would you go in there and say, well, the IRS, the Title 26 has never been enacted into positive law? It doesn't say there. This is an act of Congress that's been enacted into positive law. That makes no difference. It doesn't say, well, I'm a 14th Amendment citizen. It doesn't say that. It says any act of Congress. Well, the act of Congress doesn't matter. If they wrote the act, this is their definitions. So I use that to my advantage.
Gotcha.
All right. Does anybody have a question?
I don't think anybody else.
I have a question, but I have some information you might find interesting.
Okay.
All right. Give me 1 second here. Where'd it go? So this is from the tax court book. It says it relates to notices of deficiency. This quote here says, in 1988, Congress finally responded to complaints concerning the relative dearth of information required of a valid notice of valid deficiency notice. As part of the Technical and Miscellaneous Revenue Act of 1988, Congress enacted the predecessor to 7522A. The provision effective for notices of deficiency issued after January 1, 1990, requires the statutory notice of deficiency not only to identify the amounts of any tax, interest, additional amounts, additions to tax, penalties alleged to be due, but also to describe the basis for such adjustments. And then let me go to 7522. So it's 7522, so it's Title 27. Let's set it up. Here. Right, and then 7522, any notice to which, the title of it is contacts of tax due, deficiency, and other notices. IRC 7522A, general rule, any notice to which this section applies shall describe the basis for and identify the amounts, if any, of tax due, interest, additional amounts. The same thing I just read. So it's kind of interesting that the that's in Title 27.
Well, let me try to explain something to you that a lot of people I talked to this week didn't know. But Title 26 is 8.5 inches thick. It's roughly 14,000 pages. Could be 8,000, whatever it is, but it's 8.5 inches thick. In Title 26, they have Title 27 in there also. So when you open Title 26 and you see a statute in Title 26, that does not mean it's Title 26. What it means is it's 26 or 27. So when I got indicted, I actually took an outlined Title 26. Now, Title 26 outlines as this. Title 26, 0000 through 6999. That's Title 26. 7,000 and above is Title 27. Now, for anybody that gets in trouble that they say willful failure to file, that's 7203. What's bizarre about 7203 is that's above 7,000. Therefore, if you get a parallel table of authorities, the parallel table of authorities will say 7203 is Title 27, Part 70. So you're being indicted, or you're being challenged, or you're getting in trouble for Title 27. Now, somebody's making a lot of noise. Somebody's making a lot of noise. Hit *6, and then you can always come back in. So what's happening is, because we don't understand where we're at, we're in a dark room and we hear noises. We don't know where we're at. We don't know where the noises are coming from. The only thing I'm trying to do is show you that there's a better way to fight if you have to fight. I prefer not to fight at all. But see, what happens is we have to learn what we can and can't say. So, I put together some things. Like I said, when I was indicted, the first thing I did was I challenged the jurisdiction by asking the definition of words. They wouldn't tell me, so then there wasn't. Then I guess there's not any. Just like when I went to court, the police officer, we brought him up there when he swore in, and the prosecutor says you can't ask him any legal questions. And the reason you can't ask him any legal questions, he's not an attorney. So my first question seemed like it was pretty good. Since you're a policeman, would this be a fair question? You're in law enforcement. Would that be a fair question? The policeman looks at the attorney and says, you can answer it. Yes, I am. I said, okay, so for the record, you're in law enforcement. What law do you enforce, sir? And I shut my mouth. He stood there, and the prosecutor jumped up and said, I object, Your Honor. He doesn't have to answer that. I said, oh, so in other words, you're in law enforcement, but you don't know what law you enforce. How about this? There is a law out there that says supreme law of the land. So if you pull me over and I'm violating the supreme law of the land, would you arrest me? He looks like the prosecutor, don't answer that. Okay. So if you pull me over and I'm doing something lesser than the supreme law of the land, would you arrest me? She said, Your Honor, and then the judge said, that's it. So I got the cop to admit he is in law enforcement, but he also admitted he don't know what law he enforces. So everything that I do, I ask questions. I never, under any circumstance, do I do what that other guy said. I am a 14th Amendment citizen, because they're going to ask you what it is, and then they're going to bring in 15 people, and they're going to get 15 different answers. What I would say is, I don't know what I am. See, they'll ask, are you a 14th Amendment citizen? Geez, I'm glad you asked. I've never heard of such a thing. What is one? So I can tell you. Once they define it, then I can answer it. Doesn't matter how I answer it. Yes, no, whatever. See? So there's also, they'll say, are you a non-resident alien? I'm glad you asked that too. Gee whiz, what's a non-resident alien? Because I don't know what that is either. until they define it. See, when I told the guy I was a 48-year-old Chinese woman, he said, "No, you're not." I said, "How do you know?" A non-resident alien defines as a 48-year-old Chinese woman. No, it doesn't. Okay, then what is it? See, I'm always making them define something. If they're defining it, I'm winning. When I define it, I ain't winning. Because you're going to define it the way you think it is, not the way it is. Or not the way it, by looking at that, any act of Congress, see, they're going to tell you one thing and it's going to mean something completely different. Now, does anybody else have a question for me? My expertise, though, is jurisdiction and the Internal Revenue Service. But go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off, sir.
Yeah. It's me again. Quick question. I was talking to can you hear me?
I can.
Yes. I was speaking to another gentleman, and he recommended a ROE, a revocation of election. Have you heard about that?
I do them, but this isn't the place to do that. If you want to talk to me about them, get a hold of Ed. He'll get a hold of me. I'll call you, and I'll go over and tell you what they do, how you use them, what they're good for, how you use them, how you use it to your advantage. But yes, I do them.
I'll reach out to Ed then. No problem. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Does anybody have a question?
Hey, Kerry. I was wondering, I wrote you earlier, well, I think it was last week, given last year and everybody losing their jobs and going on unemployment and getting, well, I didn't get stimulus checks, but I got extra unemployment. I was wondering, is unemployment compensation considered taxable?
Okay, I want you to do me a favor. Let's find out. Now, are you in front of a computer?
Yes.
Okay, now I'm going to let you define what's taxable. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay. Title 31, Section 3D2. I want you to read it because you're asking a question. I don't care. You're asking a question that we need to know, so we need to know who needs to file. So let's find out. So if you would put D2, read it. Now, read it slow so I can stop you. Go ahead and read it.
For purposes of federal income.
Stop right there. Hold on. So the purposes of federal income, is this going to be important, do you think?
Yes.
Well, let's find out what federal income is. Go ahead.
Okay. For purposes of federal income, estate and gift taxes, property accepted under paragraph 1 shall be considered as a gift or bequest to or for the use of the United States.
Wow. Now,
that means that nobody is considered taxable.
All right. Wait a minute. All right. Now wait a minute. When you say nobody, okay, would you do me another favor? Look up Title 26, Section 6012 and 6012. And let's read what the heading is on it. If you will, go into Title 26, 6012. That way we can read the heading. That way we can see what's going to happen is I'm going to try to show you how if you get attacked, you can defend, but not only defend, you can do what Robin did. You can go and defend yourself and walk out standing up, not in handcuffs. So let's go to Title 26, 6012. Read just the heading. Okay, read just the heading and then stop.
26 U.S. Code 6012. Persons required to make returns of income.
Now, don't you think this would be important? No, under 6012, it tells you who has to file returns of income. We're not going to read it right now because it's pretty long, but it tells you in black and white. It tells you in black and white. Now, the other thing that I find real strange, if you will, let me show you what it says. Go to the 1040 instructions. I want to show you, it's going to tell you who has to file. and what they have to file. See, I just go through and they tell me stuff. I say, oh, I believe you. But then when they're telling me I'm supposed to do this, this, and this, I'm taking them Title 26. Title 26 says persons liable to file. The question is...
what page? There's 111 pages.
Okay. Okay, go to 104. At the top of that page, what does the top of that page have on it?
Disclosure, Privacy Act, and Paperwork Reduction Act notice.
All right, stop right there. Now, it's got 3 columns, a left column, a middle column, and a right column. Go to the left column, come down to the 3rd paragraph, but do not read it fast so we can stop and see what it says. Start on the 3rd paragraph on the left column.
Our legal right to ask for information.
Stop right there. Hold on. Who's our? Because you want to know who they're talking about. Our legal right.
They don't define that, I don't guess, but I'm guessing
right. So let's see who it is so we know what they're saying. Who's our?
Okay. Our legal right to ask for information is...
Okay, hold on. Okay, wait. Hold on. Who's our? We need to know who it is or it's not going to be any good. Who's our?
It doesn't say. It doesn't define it.
Okay, let's define it. Who's our?
Well, where's the definition?
Okay. Who wrote the book?
I'm guessing the Internal Revenue.
It's intent. Oh, okay. So if the Internal Revenue Service wrote it, and they're saying our B.
I'm sorry, you ducked out for a second.
If the IRS wrote the book saying our,
then our
who is our? Sorry?
It would be the IRS.
Okay, let's read it that way, and you're correct. That way we understand it. But now I'm going to start you again, so go ahead.
Okay. The IRS legal right to ask for information...
Stop right there. Hold on. So the IRS is legal. What's the opposite of legal?
Illegal.
So they have a legal side and an illegal side. Now start over again. I'm going to let you go a little further. I want you to understand the power that you're getting tonight. Go ahead and read it again. The IRS's
legal right to ask for information is Internal Revenue Code Section 6001, 6011, 6012A, and their regulations.
Okay, now stop right there. Hold on. Now, I'm going to make a story. I want you to answer it. You have to file. You have no options because of 6901. Tell me what I just did.
I have no options because of 6901.
In other words, if you don't file under 6901, I'm going to put you in prison. What did I just do as an IRS agent?
I have no idea. I don't know what 6901 is.
It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. I made it up. Let's read it again. The IRS is legal. Legal is what?
To ask for information is Internal Revenue Code Section 6001, 6011, 6012A, and their regulations.
Okay. Now stop. You have to file a tax return because of 6901. What did I just do? The legal right is 6001, 6011, 6012.
Illegal determination.
Okay. So, if the IRS tells you you have to file because of 6901, that's illegal. That would be illegal. Okay. Now, let's finish it up, and I'm going to show you where the real hammer is. Go ahead.
They say that you must file a return or...
Now, wait a minute. Hold on. Please hold. Who's they?
Okay.
Who's they?
They. IRS?
No,
the IRS?
They were our. No, they were our. Okay, our legal right to ask.
The section codes.
That's right. So hold on. 6001, 6011, and 6012A is their legal right. Let's see what they say. What does the legal right A have say? Let's see what it says.
They say that you must file a return or statement with us for any
Stop
tax
right there.
or
Hold on. Please hold on. We're not in a hurry. So you must file a return or statement. Now, the question is, do you file a 1040?
No.
Why?
Because they're not required.
Okay. Now, who's not required?
Anybody who is liable. Anybody who is not liable.
See what you're doing? Now you're defining it for you. Do I file a 1040? No. Why? Because the Paper Reduction Act, Privacy Act notice, and the Internal Revenue Service's own code says I'm forbidden to. It says I have to file a return or statement.
Or a statement.
Now, there's so the word "or" means they're equal. So I can file a statement, or I can file a return. A return is a 941, a 942, a 943, a 945, a CT1, an OID, a 1040, a 1041. So all these returns, it doesn't say 1040. The reason I don't file a 1040, when I was indicted, he asked me, do you file a 1040? No. Why not? The person of this, because I'm not legally required. I don't know if I'm legally required to file a 1040 or not, but it says a return. So what I do is I do the return that when I file it, I get the maximum amount of money back, whether you like it or not. So I do not file a 1040 because the Paper Reduction Act, Privacy Act notice forbids me from it. Now, let's finish out what it says. You must file.
So you must file a return statement with us for any tax you are liable for.
Okay, can I ask you a question? Are we in a hurry here?
No, I'm sorry.
We're not in a hurry. Okay, slow down so that people can hear. You're reading it so fast. See?
They say
now,
you must file a return or statement with us for any tax you are liable for.
Now stop right there. Now, I'm liable for all kinds of taxes. But if I file a 91,426.327B1G, they owe me. So now I don't have to file. It says file a return or statement for taxes owed. If I file the right tax return, I don't owe nothing. So I don't have to file. Well, if you file a 1040, well, shit, if I file a 1040, I'd owe you $7 million. I ain't filing that one because it doesn't tell me I have to. That's why I don't file one. They told me I didn't have to, so I don't. Doesn't that make isn't that easier to argue? Now, let me ask you a question. Why is it called a 1040 form? Now, wait a minute. Before we go any farther, you think about that question. Now, if you fill out a 1040, if you don't fill out a 1040, they'll come after you for willful failure to file, 7203. Earlier I told you anything above 7,000 is BATF. Right. The reason I don't fill out, okay, so 7203 is willful failure to file. Well, guess what? That's Title 27. So a 1040 must be a Title 27 form. It has to be in order to be in the BATF. That's why it says return or statement. So if you fill out a 1040, you're telling them I have alcohol tax. Apparently, because it says willful failure to file, 7203. Now, it's kind of bizarre, but it also says or statement with us. Now, who's us?
IRS.
I don't know. I got a box on top of my cabinet that says us. So I type every year. I type on a piece of paper, eat, shit, and die. Sign it, date it, and put it in my us. I'm not telling you what to do. But wait a minute. I did what the Privacy Act, Paper Reduction Act notice told me to do. Do you file 1040? No. Why not? Well, because the IRS's own Paper Reduction Act, Privacy Act notice says I can't. Now, I want to ask you a question. How did it get the name 1040? I want you to think about that. Why isn't that called the 1039? or a 1019? Why is it called a 1040?
I have no idea.
Come on now. Really? Okay. Would you like to know?
Sure, yeah, I would like to, yeah.
Okay. When Lincoln borrowed money from England to fight the Civil War, you'll never guess what the bonds were called.
1040?
Ain't that something? They were called 1040 bonds. So every time you fill out a 1040, our government owes England the money they just took out. Now, I want you to, this is a difficult one here. With today's technology, you could actually do a tax return January the 1st, because all you would have to do is hit print. If you set it up right, it would print. You could print it on January the 1st. You could do it. Why is the taxes due April 15th? Why not March 2nd? June 1st? Why not?
Wasn't that when he was assassinated?
Well, isn't that an amazing thing? He was assassinated on the 14th and died on the 15th. And the bonds were 1040 bonds. Now, that's a coincidence. Personally, I don't think it's a coincidence. But if we understand this, what's that?
It doesn't sound like a coincidence.
That's exactly my point. I think the same. But if we can sit down and understand, so if we can understand what we're doing and what's at place, what they're saying, how they're saying it, what this will do is it will give you the upper hand. It will give you the advantage. Now, I showed you the language and the bastardization of the language. I'm going to ask you one question. Will a 2018 Ferrari go from 0 to 60 faster than a Caravan with a 4-cylinder? Which one will go to 0 to 60 the fastest?
Depends on if the label on the car is actually on the car you said. I mean, I could put a Porsche label on a Mazda. It's not going to be as fast as a Porsche. Okay.
No, a Ferrari, a for real Ferrari, 0 to 60, or a Chrysler minivan, 0 to 60. Which one does it fastest?
0 to 60 what?
Miles an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Time's up.
Oh, somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Somebody come online and tell me which one goes 0 to 60 the fastest. A Chrysler minivan or a Ferrari? Why won't you answer?
I don't know. You assume the Ferrari, but I don't know. Is it a Ferrari, a real Ferrari car, or a model?
Oh, you see? Now you're making me define it. See how simple this is? Okay, it's a real car, but the engine's blowed up. The engine's in the garage, so it don't have an engine. The minivan could take 7 months. It doesn't matter because they won't. See? In other words, that's what I'm doing here. I'm defining every piece of the pie. If you would have said minivan, I'd say, come on, you're telling me you think a Chrysler minivan can beat a V12 Ferrari? Come on, you got to be crazy. See, okay, the Ferrari. So you're telling me that a Ferrari that's got an engine blown up? See, in other words, if you don't define every piece of the pie, you'll always get stuck with your pants down. And all I'm trying to do is show you how to combat this bastardization of the language that they've done on purpose. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It's harder to grasp. I mean, you have such a great grasp of that, you know. And like the other guy said, I need to practice this more, you know, thinking outside the box.
And that may be the case. But what happened with me, when I got indicted, they were going to give me 55 years. I would still have time on my sentence. So when I got there, I had to put all this together in a real short period of time. And I have used it every time. From that day till today, this is all I use. Now, the question is, see, you can look up the case online and read it. They'll tell you 34 were picked up. How many were this? And how many years everybody got. One guy didn't go to prison. But see, the problem is they all use the same. They all use the same argument. See, did you file 1040? Nope. Why not? Well, because I'm not one that has to, because there's no law saying that I have to. There's no law that says directly that I have to file. See? In other words, they're defining it. Me, I didn't define anything. What I said was, they won't let me. I can't file one. And the reason I can't file one because the IRS's own Privacy Act, Paper Reduction Act notice said I can't. What? And here, let me read it to you for the record. It says I have to file a return or a statement. So I do file a return. Well, what kind of return do you file? So I told them, well, that's a frivolous return. Then if it's a frivolous return, why doesn't it say file a return except for the frivolous return? It doesn't say that. Judge said, that's a good question. Everything they brought up, I was able to combat it with Title 26. Does that make sense? Does that help anybody? Does anybody learn anything tonight?
It's time to go.
Okay, I'm going to give everybody, I'll give you one last question, and then we're going to go.
I got one for you.
Well, we'll try it. Go ahead.
It ain't really a question. Say, my wife, they did 2017 Minnesota State, and I did actually it was a U.S. tax court. I sent that in with it, and then I used the cover sheet. It was 100 at that time that showed just what you're talking right now. And then in the Minnesota State, they want you to use a 1040 form. They want you to use that to figure your Minnesota tax. So I just sent the court order in, and I sent those two papers in, the one 1040, and I highlighted that, and I said refer to Minnesota. Then on the Minnesota one, I showed I said her name, and it does not apply because we did a statement. So I don't know, but it sure is nice having that. Right, it was sure nice having that tax court letter there. I'll tell you that.
Right. And see, what's going to happen is they're going to tell you yes or no. If they say, well, you can't use it, now you've got a stepping stone. Well, we're going to sue you on the grounds. I did what you said and you punished me. See? They can't punish you. They can't punish you for doing what the law says. And that's where you got them. So I appreciate that. Let us know in the next week or so how it goes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Kerry.
It was my pleasure. Believe me, it's my pleasure.
Okay, folks, our next call will be March the 23rd. I want to thank you for all coming on tonight.
I do too. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
I had a question. I've been trying to wait for the right moment to try to squeeze in. Back when you were talking to, sir?
Go ahead and squeeze it.
I know you're right here at the end. I'm not going to hold you long. Okay, back when you were talking to Robin, and I heard that she had a resolve to a situation, but was that permanent, and is it applicable to all her future tax positions? Or does she have to do this every time?
No, it was applicable to the one they brought forth. So if they bring forth on you 500 years, then it would have been 500 years. I believe they brought 1 or 2 years up, so those are applicable for only what they brought up. But when you go back and do your tax court thing and you get your tax court order and you get a certified copy and you get your motion, it's as strong as it can be. Anything they send you from that moment on, you've got the answer. If they send you a letter, you've got the answer. So, all I know is this. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, if they're after you for whatever years they are, 1 year or 100 years, All you want to do is get that one taken care of. And the order that you're going to get will take care of whatever they send your way.
Okay. Okay, so what I was trying to find out was, say for instance, we're realizing that we shouldn't be having to pay taxes anyway. So if I'm going on a job and I'm trying to set it up as tax exempt for this reason, is there some information or something that I could get in my possession to hand to them or support my position on this?
Yes, you can give them a W-9 or a W-8-BEN. I mean, a W-8-BEN with your court order. Yes.
Okay, where would I get that from?
Go online and put in Form W-8-BEN. And it'll pop right up.
Go where and get that?
Go to Google, on Google search or whatever search you do, put in W-8-BEN. Hit enter and it'll pop right up.
W-8-BEN.
There you go.
Okay. All right. Okay, well, I guess that was my thing, and I appreciate you guys. And how is it that you get in touch with you, Al? I know this was the call for the for these kind of classes or whatever, but if you need to get in touch with you directly, get information, how do you reach you guys?
You
got a website, email or something?
You send me an email and ask what question you want. If it goes to Kerry, I'll see that he gets it and he'll call you.
Okay, what's that email address?
My email is reptx777@att.net.
And what's your name?
Ed Branham.
Ed, right? Is it Ed?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I sure appreciate you guys, man, and all the information. And you have a great evening.
We're going to do it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
23rd. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night.